General Wilcox ordered me on a scout upon the enemy's left flank. I took with me Ben Powell with his telescope rifle. We were out all day, wet by rain. At dusk we lay under a low-spreading cedar and listened to the talk of the enemy's pickets close by. We rested our rifles on the fence and took aim at the groups just for fun. When it was dark, I stole between the pickets and entered the camp. Powell was to wait for me. We agreed upon a signal. Clad in gray, I dared not go close to the fires, but standing off a little and pretending to be lost from my command, I would ask, "Where's the 79th New York?" Being answered, I would ask, "What regiment is this?" and other things I wished to know. At a farmhouse, artillery was parked. I leaned on the fence and talked with the men in the yard. Had I been suspected, I would have hung. Turning back and keeping to the more open space, I came to a fly tent pitched by itself. A man stood outside, talking with one inside. I hid behind a bush. He outside called to the colonel. The colonel was giving orders as to the disposition of the regiments. He seemed to be commanding a brigade. I heard all the orders. The man, who wore a sword, went away. The colonel lay down. 30 feet in front of the tent, which was open, stood a horse. Could I steal him? Getting the horse betwixt me and the tent, I walked up softly. The animal was gentle and remained quiet. Keeping my legs behind the horse's forelegs, I felt along the halter, which was leather, to the knob. I tried to untie the knot, but it was awkward with my left hand, so I cut the halter with my knife. The colonel had not stirred. Moving slowly and softly, I led the horse away. Gaining a little distance, I went quickly. I was now in open ground, no tents. But at the stream below, on the picket line, I heard men. Swerving a little to pass these, I crossed the stream at a run, the horse leaping it with me. The ground was turf, and the pickets on either side did not hear or did not understand. In a few minutes, I was with Powell. I had captured a fine black mare wearing a colonel's saddlecloth. As we drew near the post, I suggested the capture of another horse. So, tying the mare in the woods, we crept up to the house. Lying on the ground against the yard fence, we watched the men walking about in the yard and heard their talk. There were 20 or more, too many to attack, and after waiting some time and finding no chance to lift a horse, we gave up the enterprise. It was broad day when we reached our lines. I could not find General Wilcox to make report. Tired, wet, hungry, sleepy, I threw myself on the ground, saying, "Boys, wake me up when you get something to eat." Immediately, I had not closed my eyes. The long roll beat. Fall in! Fall in! Quickly, we moved to the left. Some musketry then. Not much. There's most always a little. Now we double quick. Heavier musketry. Faster, men, faster, hurry. Now faster still. It is almost a run. Something must have happened. Indeed, something had happened. Johnson's division had been surprised at daylight and captured with all his artillery, and the Stone Shoe Ben was in possession of the enemy. Faster, faster, now we run. Charging, not in line of battle, but into the work. By the flank, Carolinians, Georgians, Louisianians, all mixed together. We are met by showers of bullets from our own breastworks, trampling over our own dead, jostling aside our own wounded. Bending low, we push along the entrenchments. A battle flag is just behind me. It seems to move so slowly. "Forward with the flag," I cry. Then I run back and seize the staff. "Give me the flag." The color-bearer looks at me coolly, scornfully. "I can carry the flag," and tramps steadily forward. Bullets rain. Still advancing, we creep from traverse to traverse. These are our sole protection. The breastworks are none. Now the right of our line overlaps the enemy, only the earthwork between. Men on both sides kneel, reach up, rest their guns on the works, and fire downward, pulling the trigger with the thumb. There is no artillery. It is too close. There is no room. A tree 20 inches in diameter is cut down by bullets. Limbs from other trees fall upon the fighters. All day raged the fearful struggle, broken only by intervals of truce, when each side argued, even pled, the other, demanding surrender. Once in a happenstance, some men of ours raised a white flag. "Shoot those men! Shoot those men! You along our lines," and the flag came down. At some time, I do not know when, utterly worn out, lying down, I fell asleep. When I woke, it was night. A dead man lay by my side. The firing had ceased, but I heard the trample of many feet. "What troops?" I asked. "Blank, Louisiana Battalion. Where are you going?" "We are evacuating the works. You had better get up and get out of there." We fell back to an inner line, and the enemy did not follow. It was a bloody, murderous battle, the more hateful for being utterly fruitless to either side. On the night of the 16th, an orderly came from General McGowan wanting a scout. I rose, chose 2 men, and reported. "You are to learn if the enemy are moving on the Telegraph Road. The order is from General Lee." "We are near the center of the army," I said. "I could hardly return before noon tomorrow." "He must know tonight." I could creep up close to their pickets and listen, but I do not think I could learn anything. "Then you must go inside." "But I cannot get through their pickets," I said. "It is a strong skirmish line. I know. I have been fighting them all day." "You must go inside." "What time is it now?" I asked. 11 o'clock. "I will be back by 1, I said, "if I come back." Outside our pickets, I ordered 1 man behind me, just keeping me in sight in the dark, the other to keep the first in sight. When they heard me talking with the enemy, they must listen, then go back and report. But what should I do? What part should I play? Deserter? I would be held under guard. Confederate scout? I would be guarded closely. Union scout? They would hardly let me pass. It would be foolish, unmilitary. But it is my only chance that they might. And if I'm held under guard, I must learn what I can and then escape. Slowly advancing, and with much caution, I listened close for the movement of troops. I heard nothing. Just before me lay a low earthwork. I stopped and listened. No sound, only the low voices of the pickets. I must go inside. "Who comes there?" "A scout." "Union or rebel?" "Union." "Advance and give the countersign." "I have no countersign. I have been all day between the lines and am just coming in." "Well, come in." I climbed over amongst them, and they gathered around me. In the darkness, the color of my uniform was not noticed. They might have made a light, but they did not. Perhaps they were afraid of our pickets. "What regiment?" "Blank, New York." "What brigade?" "Blank division." "Blank corps." I had been scouting along the rebel lines. I came in here to go back with my news. "To whom?" "General Hancock." "Who sent you out?" "General Hancock." A short consultation, and one said, "We will keep you till morning." "But General Hancock will want me," I said. "If you distrust me, send a guard with me to him." I wanted to get over by the Telegraph Road, but the officer said, "I'll send you to brigade headquarters." 2 men were detailed, who conducted me through the camp. Stopping at a large tent, My guards announced that they had one in charge calling himself a Union scout. The officer, lying inside, in the dark, addressed me. "What regiment do you belong to?" "Blank, New York." "You are a Southern soldier." "You are quite mistaken, sir." "No, you are a Southern soldier." "What makes you think so?" "I know it by your voice." I felt that I was now discovered, but hoping he might be sleepy and would send me away, I replied, "You are wrong, sir. You may keep me till morning and send me to General Hancock, then you will know." I heard him move. A match was struck and a candle lit. "Come in here." It was all up. I put back the flap of the tent and stepped inside, gray clothes, rifle and all. "Aha," he exclaims. "What state are you from?" "South Carolina." "Aha." Then he broke into a laugh. I laughed also. "I knew you were a Southerner as soon as you spoke. I have lived in the South. What is your name?" "Barry Benson." "And your name, General?" "I am Colonel Schweitzer, commanding a brigade." Mighty clever he was, talking kindly, asking how we fared, and when I showed him some can't-bake bread that I had with me, he ate a piece, declaring it better than his own hardtack. When he told me to leave my rifle, bade me good night, and wished me a speedy exchange, for which I thanked him, intending to exchange myself before daylight if I could. I was then delivered to a sergeant of the camp guard, who gave a receipt for me, and I was conducted to a clump of pines, where a dozen tents were pitched and an armed guard sat by a fire. The camp was all about thousands of tents. Over there lay the telegraph road. I listened but heard nothing. I stood by the fire. The guard sat, staring in the coals. A thought came to me. Can I get him to tell me? But how? By making him boast. So I began to talk of the war and to boast of this and that. My plan worked. He quickly followed my lead. I learned that the enemy was being reinforced from Washington. Tomorrow, the heavy artillery would be changed into infantry. This was not what I came for. Still, it was news, and it might be news for General Lee. And from the silence, I believed no troops were moving tonight. It was now so late in the night, I must be quick as to what I would do. Should I bolt for my guard? Was his gun loaded? I could not tell, as a hammer was down. But could I find out? I thought that I could. Within reach, leaning against a pine, was one of the guards' guns. If that gun is loaded, I argued, his is. If not, his isn't. So I said, "We are better drilled than you. I dare say now I can go through the manual better than you." At this, I catch up the gun. I shoulder arms. "Present arms. Come back to the shoulder." I give the order. "Load in 9 times." I load. The butt drops to the ground. I buy an imaginary cartridge. Draw the ramrod. I pass it down the barrel. The gun is empty. Putting the rifle back in its place, I was at the point of saying, "Goodbye, John," when a corporal came, and leaning his gun by the other, stood by the fire a while. His piece was loaded. The cap gleamed in the firelight. Then taking his rifle again, he ordered me with him. We had gone but a little way when we passed near the edge of a wood. In it I saw no tents. Its shades invited me. Day was beginning to break. I could wait no longer. One step back, then with a sudden blow I struck my guard's gun from his shoulder and dashed to the woods. I heard the piece fall upon the ground, and the corporal's voice rang out, "Stop that man! Stop that man!" Here a cat snapped behind me. His gun had missed fired. In a moment more I had reached the woods and was speeding through the trees. But my pursuer followed close, calling incessantly, "Stop that man! Stop that man!" He was swift of foot and held his own in the race. How great, then, my surprise and alarm when the woods suddenly ended, and I sprang into the open field. Down the hill I fly. I leap a stream and turn my course to a wood beyond. Still my pursuer follows. Still rings his cry, "Stop that man! Stop that man!" But I gain the wood. I am climbing the hill. I will yet escape, when suddenly down upon me come charging a 50 of men, who take me and hold me fast. The corporal came up, out of breath, like myself. At first he was angry and called me bad names. Then he said I had struck him, and out of revenge he prodded me once with his bayonet. It did not hurt very much, but it made me angry, and I gave him my tongue. The others, too, interfered. I feel grateful yet to the one who said he had a right to escape, corporal, if he could. I like him for trying. The corporal was not such a bad fellow. What really made him angry was that he had nearly lost me.